pledge allegiance to the
flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The borough clerk is out because he had a medical emergency, so I'm going to call roll, and unless anybody has an objection. Mr. DePaul.
Here.
Mr. Nonnelly.
No objection.
All here.
Mr. Nico. Mr. James. Mr. Nixon.
Here.
Mr. Moore. Ms. Gross.
Yeah. Okay. We have a form. Approval of July checks number 14340 through 14398 from the general fund.
I make the motion.
Have a second?
I'll second.
A motion by Mr. Nonnelly, second by Mr. Nixon. Any discussion?
Yeah, I do. Anybody want to go first? Okay. Check 391. Resurfacing Nova Chip. I don't remember voting on doing any roads.
That was when they did the geo checking if there's sinkhole. They don't have the right description.
The drilling,
Yeah,
the port.
Right.
Okay.
they don't, it just had, he just put whatever we used them for the last time. That was an error on his fault. Anything else? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, checks number 1924 through 1926 for the sewer fund. Have a motion?
Make the motion.
I'll second.
Motion by Mr. Nonnelly, second by Mr. Nixon. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Moving on. Approval of July 2015 receipts and deposits as presented.
Make the motion.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Nonnelly, second by Mr. McCall. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Approval of the minutes, July 13th and July 27th of 2015.
Make the motion.
A motion by Mr. Nonnelly.
I wasn't here, so I'm abstaining. He's gonna have to second it.
I'll second it to have discussion.
Second by Mr. DeCall. Discussion?
Yeah, I'm just going to sum up. Instead of going through these minutes, I just want to make clear that in the first meeting in July, a motion was made and passed to have the engineer give us a cost for Adamson Street and the sidewalks and curbs. Now, the sidewalks and curbs are up to the property owners down in that area, and Mr. Johnson was willing to contribute $10,000, and the hubcap store might contribute $5,000. And sidewalk under the trestle might be part of the railroad property or our responsibility as you come around the bend from Adamson Street to Main. Because the rest of the sidewalks are pretty good in that area. But underneath the trestle.
Okay, let me just interrupt for a minute. We're going to revisit this whole thing and start over with this to get all the details. Can we just either approve the minutes or not approve the minutes, and then we're going to have a whole nother section that will be in the minutes for this meeting of all the details of the grant that we didn't get to have on the 27th.
All right.
And I won't go into why, but I would like to do it at another point in the meeting
Yeah, I
and talk
understand
about
that.
this
I just
grant.
wanted to make it clear because some of the minutes are opinions that
They're
maybe
not
I don't
opinions,
agree
they're
with.
pretty much facts, but are we gonna approve these? We'll discuss like the other part later, when we get to the grant and then old business,
Yes.
okay?
Yeah.
All right. All in favor?
All right.
Okay. Thank you.
You abstain?
What?
Yeah, I wasn't here, I'm not gonna vote on minutes, I wasn't here to.
He abstained, he was not gonna vote for a second. Accepting the treasurer's report of July 2015.
I make the motion.
A motion by Mr. Notley,
Second.
second by Mr. DePaul. All in favor?
Discussion.
Go ahead.
I wish you would put in the amount of the CD
Okay, I'll remind
as
her.
part of the
I'll
treasurer's
remind her
report.
again. She was just going off of what Steve Gillespie did for 60 years here, so we'll have to have her update that. All in favor?
Aye.
Are you accepting it?
Yes.
Okay. Are you accepting it?
Yeah, sure. Aye.
All right, let's have public comment. Oh wait, the sewer authority, I put minutes from June, that's what I can get, in place of Paul James not being here. So you can read those on your own. We're going to have public comment first. We'll get that out of the way. Is there any public comment? Okay, please go to the podium and state your name and your address.
My name is Leonard Wyler. I live at 809 Ridge Street. And the issue I have is the yards of my neighbors, both the front and the rear yard. Okay, it's never been cut this summer. I have pictures of both the front and rear yard that I've passed to the council. And I want to know what my options are. I've been down to Borough Hall twice now, filled out a formal complaint form, and would like to know if there's anything,
We usually give them 3 chances
meaning,
to respond to letters.
okay?
And each letter, the consequences get more severe. We can't just like hammer them immediately.
Well, I understand
And
that.
it just goes like for any other property owner, how it works. After they don't respond to the 3rd letter, it would go to Ms. Schlotzman, and then she would address it.
Okay. I mean, do I know how many letters have been sent out by now, or?
We just sent out the 3rd letter, I guess, a week ago, the end of July.
Okay.
The office showed me, you know,
And if
because
the-
I didn't know how many
Yeah.
were sent out at that time either.
I mean, how do we know if they're getting them, or they're not getting them? I'm assuming they're registered.
Yeah.
Okay. You know,
So
what's,
we know they're getting them.
right, I mean, if nothing was done then.
We have 2 properties we're dealing with right
Right,
now.
exactly.
And the one bank is in Ohio, so we're dealing with them, you know, long-term. It takes a lot longer to get a representative here. The local person, I really don't know. She may not even want that place anymore, so that would be something that she would discover. We can't aggressively do that from the office, but we had to give them 3 chances.
Okay.
I'm sorry, but
After that, I would take over and follow up and either have the municipality or the borough cut the grass and take a lien on the property.
I mean, the
or
front of the yard
something,
was
but I
just,
have to figure out where it's at this point. So
Yeah.
now it seems as if it's the point that it's going to turn over to me, and I'll take a look at it and we'll pursue enforcement of it.
the front yard is atrocious, and the backyard is even worse.
If you have photos or anything else that you haven't already provided to
No, I
me,
didn't.
okay.
we have 8 by 10 photos.
Oh, you got it?
Actually,
Okay.
we have like large, big photos.
Do you need these back?
No, you have your mic on?
I know what you're talking about, but can you give me the addresses because it's,
It's, I'm sorry, it's 811 and 813 Ridge Street,
right.
are the 2 addresses.
I know, we have to come up with more effective ordinance to act faster? I don't know if there's, I know there's time limits, but those properties, it's been going on too long.
Exactly.
Way too long.
In light of absentee landlords also is something that's happening big time in a lot of communities now. And it may be, we have to run it past our solicitor, what we could do to change any ordinances that we have right now. Because the criminals are always the one that have the advantage of the law, unfortunately. And in your case, you're being penalized by it.
Okay, let me just say one thing. Generally, the council over the years was reluctant to put a lien on somebody's house because they were like, you know, oh, what if that was you? What if something happened to you? You couldn't cut your grass, this, that, you know, and everybody was giving it a soft touch. I agree with the nonsense, but I always got pushed back. Like, you can't go there, cut the grass, and put a lien on somebody's house. You know, maybe they're sick, maybe they're, I mean, I don't know that.
Right.
But we have to be consistent with everybody. So when you start this, you have to consider, council, that if you do it for one person, you do it for all people. Not
Yeah, in a
just-
heartbeat, yeah, it should be done, absolutely.
So if council thinks that we should definitely use that bite that's in the ordinance, to cut that grass and maintain it, and keep putting the lien on the house, and then when it gets sold eventually, the borough would get their money back, then that's the route that we have to take. Generally, in the past, no one wanted to go there.
That's putting teeth back in the ordinance, which did exist way back when I was the president of council. We put liens against properties. But somewhere along the way, we became a kinder and gentler situation, and it was the wrong way to go, quite frankly. But the council, it was a wish of council at that time, by vote, to have the ordinance that we have right now. So if Mr. DePaul wants to change it, I would suggest that he put it in writing to the chair and get it approved and get it over with.
Most definitely.
When the weeds in the front of the front porch get as high as little trees, we got a problem.
No, it's as high as the roof of the porch.
It's ridiculous.
I would like to put it out there to council right now, instead of going through writing. Make a motion to enforce that part of the ordinance, to cut the grass for $50 an hour, putting the lien onto the house. If you're willing to put that in motion, second, we can have Christie enact that, we can get it taken care of in a week or two.
I'll make a motion to that effect, and that we get to it immediately, yes.
One second.
All in favor?
A little discussion. I know from maybe some newspaper articles, I think Bangor has some kind of ordinance about backyards and front yards and weeds and ordinances. And you might want to compare that to building this ordinance. And I'm in favor of it.
We already have it in place, we just have to enforce it from now on, instead of just doing letter writing. You can write letters to some people forever, like for years, I mean, I've witnessed it over my 20 years, that you can write letters and letters. You know, some people, they pay their bills when they come right through the door. They're like down here handing them to us as soon as they get their store bill. But then there's other people, they wait until you post a notice on their door, and then they say, you know, you ask them, you're paying $150 more. Why? Oh, because I know it's due now when you put this on, because next you'll turn my water off. I mean, to me, that's crazy, but that's what some people do. So I'd be glad to take care of that.
The only condition I have to the motion, if it could be amended,
It doesn't have to be amended, it's already written.
no, the motion.
Oh, the motion.
Amend your motion. I just want to look at the language of the ordinance and make sure it's consistent with the action we take. That's all. I don't know what the language of the ordinance says.
Says that if their grass gets over 8 inches.
Sure, I would prefer to see, you know, what.
Get a copy of it.
All right, on the condition of the solicitor looking over the present ordinance, that we get on and start nailing these people, you got a motion? Yes, here.
Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, so you don't have to write to me.
Can I have a question on that, because I didn't vote on that yet? How is their insurance, are guys covered when they go across like that if something happened?
On public property, on private property, I don't know.
Private property, that's what scares me now. And I think
That's
that should be under part of the
ordinance,
condition.
Yeah, I just don't know what the ordinance says, so.
You could get a copy of it, just like you got a copy of the sewer ordinance. too.
I'll look into the insurance.
That's a good point, Tommy.
Yeah, because that's my main concern.
Because sometimes under that high grass, you don't know what's under there.
And like I said, I don't know if we should have a second party, either contracted out for stuff like that, that we're not liable.
Who doesn't?
Yeah.
You got all these New York lawyers out there today. Years ago, we didn't have a problem with that. We went in and cut it.
Yeah.
When we had our two maintenance guys, it was never a problem. But today,
That's what they always did in the borough up in Wilson.
yeah, exactly. Wilson has a similar ordinance that we had, and it's extensive. It was two-parted, and the second part was to do what we're going to do now. We had that for years, and then they changed their mind, like I just repeated. But we have it. And it's a good point that Christie made to get, just to read it to make sure it's any legality. And you might want to look at that trespass situation.
I think it would have to be posted. In other words, when you have it properly posted, that's
Yeah.
different than when it's not posted.
I'll have to take a look at it, but we'll get it resolved. That's the bottom line. The council wants to get it resolved, we're just going to do it the right way, so.
Any more comments we heard? No? Okay. Moving on to the public hearing.
Who made the motion? Okay, thank you. Thank you. All right. No more public comment? Okay. Next is Mickey Thompson.
Public hearing.
Yes.
You want to introduce the public?
There wasn't anybody else from the public, was there? They asked.
Yes.
Yeah. There was a motion that the council made 2 meetings ago to advertise the ordinance amendment that was proposed by Mr. Thompson related to the DUI center. That was advertised on July 20th and the 28th. We're going to open that for public hearing in a minute. I'm going to mark this exhibit, which is the proof of publication from the Express Times, as Exhibit 1, and open the floor for hearing. Mr. Thompson, you were the podium.
Thank you, members of council, and thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for being here this evening. Just briefly, I've been here many times in the past, and most recently regarding the proposed amendment to the zoning ordinance that was enacted, I believe 2010, related to the DUI center. Just briefly, the history of this is we came before Borough Council in 2009 and finally had the ordinance amended in 2010 that would allow the existence of the DUI center, which would be limited to 100 residents. Since that time, it's been successful. I think actually too successful in that the DUI center has been operating and it has gone through its backlog of people who were needing to serve out their sentence. And Northampton County, just make sure Jim Pastor is here this evening. He's not the assistant director, he's the deputy warden. He didn't want to get that promotion quite yet, so we want to make that clear. He came to myself in representing my company Pennsylvania Metro Capital and West Easton Development to expand the existing numbers, not the actual building. The building would remain intact as it is, and to expand the clientele as opposed to be only DUI specific and child and spousal support specific residents, to include low-level offenders who are eligible for work release. In order to make this cost effective for the county is very interested in keeping the budget for the entire county as well as the Department of Corrections and the manageable state. What they requested, we start the process to ask Borough Council if they would be amenable to amending the ordinance to allow for more residents and allow them to have a work release center down at the building here. So we presented the ordinance to the council, and I believe we had a discussion on it a couple times related to it. Simply, it's two changes from 100 to 150. That 150 would be incremental. Speaking to Mr. Castori, it's not as if the day that this hopefully will be passed that there will be 50 more people down there. There is some logistics and some monitoring of the actual structures where the beds are going to be located and whatnot that would accommodate the individuals. But the first and more significant changes for the 100 to 150, and then secondly, the level of clientele would be low-level offenders who are eligible for work release. Again, that protection is for the protection of the borough here, so that not anybody on work release can just come down here if they have a violent history. They would have to be mandated by the courts to have both of those prongs. So you're not just going to get every Tom, Dick, and Harry down to this facility. It's going to be people who the courts have adjudicated meet those criteria. They get transferred to the Department of Corrections, and that's when Mr. Castora and Mr. Keene, that's when they take over and make certain that all the rules are being followed. I applaud them for actually coming to us now, or actually before, and requesting this, because they have been very diligent in making sure that the ordinance is being followed. They didn't want to bring anybody that wasn't permitted by the code to come down there. It wasn't a switcheroo or anything like that. And Jim has been really phenomenal with making sure everything is on the up and up, so that there's as much openness and as much candor as possible. So we're hoping that we've answered the questions that we've had over the last couple of meetings. Mr. Castora's back. He went through the specifics of how the operation is going to continue in the future, and again, not threatening anybody, not trying to make this a doomsayer, but the purpose and reason why we're here is to protect this asset that you have in West Easton. We are the largest water and sewer consumer in the borough of West Easton. There is a temporary residence fee that goes back to the borough of West Easton, so that there is an economic benefit for everyone. Certainly that's not part of the equation here to expand that, because the DUI center is going to be within the same walls, but we want to maintain that. We want to make this a productive asset. Hopefully, if you've lived here long enough, you know that for many years the entire property was a black hole, and kind of sucking the lifeblood out of the borough. We will try to invigorate it by doing what we've done with it, and we've tried many different options. This seems to be the one that fits most, and we don't want to have the county at some point change its mind and say we want to leave the borough, and then we have another gaping hole in the heart of your community. So with that, we just ask that the borough would approve the ordinance as written, allow the borough, or allow Northampton County Department of Corrections to continue operations there, and if there's any questions, I certainly would be happy to answer this week.
Okay, does council have any questions they would like to ask? I know that we've asked a lot of questions over the last couple of meetings, as well as allowed a lot of public comment with the county and Mr. Thompson here at the meetings with us. But is there anything that came to mind that is different and new? Or if not, I'll open it up to the public. Okay. No? No?
No, ask questions of the last
Yeah,
couple meetings.
I just want to make sure. Mr. Dees?
Yeah, I just have one question. Last meeting you were here, the number changed from 120 to 150. Your original meeting, you came up with a number of 120. The county came up with 150, and there was some question about what was right. Was that ever straightened out?
It was straightened out. The reason for the number is based upon the fixture count. We originally, Mr. Castor and I had discussions where it was going between 120 and 150, and when they went back and did a count of all the fixtures, all the toilets, all the showers, they got up to the number of 150. The reason why we're capping it at 150, and that's why the original ordinance said 150, is because, and if they go 151, you have to build a complete another shower and everything, and the county would have to then request either its own or my company build that, which is money that they don't want to spend right now. And from talking to the county, and Mr. Castor certainly can speak for himself, that number is what they're comfortable at in the future. And again, I think, not putting words in his mouth, but that 150 number is going to be built up to until they have the program operating, and they still have to figure out where the beds are going to be switched inside the building. But that's why the difference was. It was all based upon fixture count and under the IDC and all the different construction codes. That's where they are.
So it's going to be capped at 150?
150, and that's why the ordinance says 150.
That's where the confusion was. That's why I asked the last time, two meetings ago, you said the cap was 121, and if you went over 120, 120, that's when the fixture cap went into effect. And now you're saying that wasn't right. Now you're saying it's 150, 151 instead of 120, 120.
Yeah, without showing you exactly how the sausage is made here, when we went back and when we did our original count, it was at 150, and Mr. Castor, they had a different interpretation. So when I came back in, that's why the number was 120, although the 150 was always in the ordinance. However, we went back through the code, we went point by point, and I think the county agrees with our original interpretation. That's why the 150 was always there originally in the ordinance.
Anybody else from the public have any comment or question? Because the county and the landlord is here now. Hearing none. We heard all the comments and questions of ourselves and the public over like the last 3 meetings. What's the wish of council?
I think I'll make the motion that we grant it.
Second.
We have a motion by Mr. Nyling, second by Mr. Paul. Any further discussion? None? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion granted.
Thank you very much, and thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you for having us.
All right, let's see. The public hearing will be closed. Passage of the ordinance number will be ordinance 1000. If anybody wants to do a copy of it. I'll let you know. All right, mayor's report.
Okay, last meeting I asked Ron, wasn't here, Ron Nixon, to be a part of the mayor's public safety committee. And I appreciate it with your experience and everything that you've
All aboard.
your board. I appreciate that. You have a lot of background in borough government and Wilson Borough, and I think you'd be a big asset to this borough and this council. So I appreciate that. Tommy, we're going to get together sometime maybe next week. I'll notify you guys when I look at my calendar to see when I can participate. And there's some issues that we need to really delve into, because the state police, they do a good job, but their level of attention is emergency situations. I'm getting a lot of complaints on little things that we haven't been able to cover because we don't have our own police force. And I'm not going back into that story. It was a very traumatic situation for me as mayor to have what happened with Easton and Wilson, and trying to work ourselves through a situation which we pretty much were left there by Easton when they pulled the rug out. But we will survive, we always do. We'll work hard at it, and we'll develop some kind of program to maybe offset the police situation with the state police also. It will supplement the state police, that's what my idea is, and hopefully we will be able to work something out to that effect. So we were taking caps on. A lot of the issues are ordinances being enforced. That's hard. We can do it with our code people, but there's also some other things that we have to use police. And we were always advised that even if the code people go to serve a document, that they have police protection to go there. Because in this day and age, you don't know what you're going to confront. Stop signs has been a big issue that I've been presented with from a lot of residents in West Easton. A number of parents on stop sign issues where their kids were driving their bikes in the street, almost getting hit, and getting the proverbial number 1 sign from the driver. So I say get the license number, give it to me, I'll turn it over to the state police, and they can address it that way. But sometimes it takes a little too long to get it done that way. There was an issue on another situation where the state police took the message and they weren't able to get there because they got tied up in other more serious situations. So that's one thing that I want to get together with, with the public safety under my jurisdiction as mayor, being responsible for public safety.
Mayor, you would like to pick a date or a couple dates, tell the office, and they will send, you don't have to do it right now.
No, I will.
But the office will send out an email to everybody, including yourself, and then those can attend can text the mayor and let him know that you're okay for whatever date.
Yeah.
And you guys can communicate that way, but we'll start it off with an email to the whole committee,
Yeah, sounds good.
all right?
If Jerry's got my number, he can call me wherever he wants.
Call the office with the dates, give them like 2 dates, and let them, they'll send an email out for you. They have their email addresses.
All right. I've been reading a lot of information on communities having problems when they hire employees, and one of the big things is the falsification of their applications. In the future, the Borough of West Easton should develop a policy that any hiring that we do, no matter what, we've been always in-house hiring situation. We hire people that lived in the town, we knew them, we grew up with them. We had an experience hiring a last borough manager, which there was a lot of false information. And I am charging council right at this time to do something about this and have an ordinance developed that all future hirings are background checks done. In this day and age, with all the problems out there, we want to know who we're hiring. We don't want to get embarrassed sometime down the road with hiring that's going to embarrass the borough. And I think we need to do this. It's a very important situation. And the kind of gentleman world that we all grew up in, I think most of us in this room grew up in that time, is no more. It's a very serious situation on the streets today. I mean, just tonight I had to turn the news off because I couldn't stand it anymore. But that town out there in the Midwest, that the young fellow got shot by the police, well, they had another big incident in the same town today. I mean, it's out of control with guns and all that kind of stuff. It's the worrisome. As mayor, I grew up in this town, and I worry every day about it. And that's why I've been here for 50 years. I worry about the residents, I worry about the people, the kids, what's happening at the park. I mean, I just, maybe I'm nuts now, maybe it's because of my age, but I was always that way. And there's a lot of things we got to do today to protect our community. And we got to start thinking that way instead of we think we instead of I. Last week, I believe it was Thursday, I got a call from the fire company. They had Durham Plumbing hole dug, and when they got to where the pipe was connected, the saddle was fractured. It was fractured from just trucks, cars, and everything going over it. It became a public safety issue because, and that's why I got involved in it. They called me up and they had a real problem getting people around to get the thing fixed. I got a hold of the engineering company and we got them there, and I told them at that time I expect an engineer or two to be here at 7 o'clock tomorrow morning. The problem is the sewer water was filling up the hole, and that is the main trunk line from Wilson Borough that came down there, and they had it wide open, and they were down there in their hip boots trying to keep the thing flowing. One of the things we found out, and one of the things that we keep talking about here, and we have public telling us that we got too much money in our sewer account, that is the main trunk line from Wilson Borough. And according to the engineers, and this is a matter of record also for council to digest, that trunk line is better than 3/4 full in flow. Now, it's not our responsibility because it belongs to the sewer authority, but our representative to the sewer authority better make note to tell them that our engineers saw it and it is full. And if we ever get any inflow into that thing, we're going to have major problems with overflowing the manholes. That's a project you're going to have to face in the next couple of years. I'm telling you that right now. And we better get some teeth and some gumption in this council to pursue the Easton Sewer Authority. Yeah, we're a little West Easton, but we have ownership in that line. And it's time for us to say, you better start looking at that instead of combining all your funds and taking all your monies and putting it in one account when you know there's going to be some major flaws. Our sewer system is 1965. And how many more saddles out there are fractured? Nobody fractured it. The line that they were putting in was a lateral. That was the responsibility of the fire company. The saddle is West Easton's responsibility. And
The main line was cracked,
yep.
which was strange because about maybe 3 years ago, they relined that line where they roll out a piece of plastic and blow steam into it, and it melts and creates like a thicker inside pipe, which was supposed to last about 10 years. And we can see that that's not a guarantee.
Well, what I would like...
So that part I found surprising, because I remember I fought for that, because they were going to build at the time I was representing us on the sewer authority, and at the time they were going to bill us $69,000 and Wilson $175,000 for the relining. Before they even had a policy, the policy was going to come after. And I said, you can't do that, you can't bill us. And they create a policy afterwards. You have to have that as capital improvement. And then, once your policy's in place, then yes, whoever runs water through it, which would be Wilson Borough and West Easton, then they can enforce that.
I have a question on that. Now, you went there to look at it after the hole was dug.
Yep.
And who was the plumber? Because our company always used West Easton plumber, and no problem.
They got them, we didn't have anything to
That's
do with
that's
that.
where I'm going with this. When the fire company was run by West Easton people, the social club, they always used Smokey as the plumber.
Can't do it though.
And he put in, and I remember he put in a clean-out pipe. I think Henry was there too. Now, this guy's saying that the pipe was broke. Who's to say, when he dug down with a backhoe, that he didn't crack it?
No, that isn't what happened.
Because it would have been filled up already.
The engineer was there, our company engineer was there. Durnan is a certified plumber, and that's the only kind of plumber. Smoke can't work on sewer lines. He cannot work in the street on sewer lines, you have to be a certified plumber, period. That's the law. He does something wrong and he's not certified, he can blow the whole system up. Okay, I didn't make that law, that's the way it is. And that's why they had Durnan, who's done all of Alpha's work. They hired him, the firehouse hired him, okay? Now, the firehouse got a bill for $8,000, and we were presented with a bill for $5,000 for the saddle.
Ours was 61.
$6,100.
To the fire company.
No, that wasn't the fire company's bill. The fire company was around $7,000.
I saw it, I have a copy of it.
Yeah, with our bill,
Ours was,
Durnan brought the bill here for us, for the saddle.
yeah, but they filed a right to know to get a copy of our bill because they felt they were getting double billed. So they're kind of fighting their own battle right now
Oh,
about
okay.
their own bill.
Well, here's the fact, and here's where I want to get to. That bill exists. Somewhere, that bill has to be paid, and in my opinion, it has to be paid by the sewer authority, if it comes to that point.
It's not
Because
gonna happen.
It's a trunk line that belongs to them.
The policy is in place now, that whoever flows through it, so we would have to get the copy of their policy, I think probably part of Wilson. It's like a 75-25 split.
Yeah.
Because of the amount of flow. Because when we were going to have to pay for relining, our part of the bill was $69,000, theirs part was $175,000.
Well, whatever the breakdown is, I'm not worried about the
We
breakdown.
have to get a copy of the policy. in order to
My
get
only
that.
concern is that the borough of West Easton doesn't pay that bill, period, no matter what.
Well, that's what I mean. Kelly's saying one story, and I heard almost the
That's
same
the
thing.
policy down there.
I heard there's another story that he gave them an estimate of $6,500 for the whole thing. And now everything's changing, they're gonna be built something, we're gonna be built something.
No, and here's what happened, Dan. He gave him a bill, he gave him an estimate for $6,500, which was, that's, all he had to do was hook into the saddle. When the saddle was fractured, then we had to get our engineers involved, and they couldn't put the saddle in the same part because the line was fractured. They had to move it to the left so that they could come in at a different angle in the line. So they had to put a brand new saddle in the line. That was the extra cost. If they want to fight that battle, it's not our battle. Let the firehouse fight it, because it isn't our battle. All I'm concerned about is that we don't pay that bill.
That's what I feel, because I don't understand the building, the fire company doesn't understand the building. So,
Well, they're the ones that made the deal.
yeah, they're the ones that made the deal.
And they're the ones that called me because they were in a panic over there because of the problem.
All right.
If we would have
that's
known
how,
about it ahead of time, we probably could have been more helpful.
yeah.
But when somebody
exactly.
calls you and the sewer is flowing everywhere, you
Yeah.
kind of can't question like who's going to be responsible and who's going to work for who and who should we call, because they have their registered, certified, licensed plumber there, and we had to get it fixed.
Well, see, that was part of my question.
The
If the
saddle-
sewer was flowing, how long was it flowing that if it was flowing for a long time, it would have been a sinkhole, it would have been...
No, it wasn't flowing for a long time because it was just,
No,
there was a meter and a television that the Easton Authority did, so it was never, like I'm
yeah,
telling
they did
you,
a televised of the whole line from the
couple-
firehouse all the way out.
Right,
a couple of years ago, they relined it, that's why I'm surprised
that's why I'm
how it
surprised.
got cracked. That
I know.
was puzzled me that day, because I found out after the fact
You
that
can
it
crack it
already
with a
got.
backhoe, that's all I'm saying.
You know what, I said that too when I got like attacked for it.
That was the other thing
I
that
was
the
saying too
engineers,
loud.
told me that day was that they televised the line from
Sure,
the
you didn't hack it.
firehouse all the way to the middle of the street. That's when they recognized the problem. It was done then, before they dug it, they televised. That was sort of like preventive maintenance for the guy that was doing it. Here I got emergency management operations plan. I've been acting as emergency management coordinator since Gary's resigned. That's one of the things that I'm going to talk to you people about. And I want to start plugging in the council people that are going to be responsible for every person in this chart. List the name of a council person and their responsibility of emergency management organization in the borough of West Easton.
You have to take the NIMS classes.
Well, I took the NIMS classes. The rest of the council and new councilmen coming in have to take the NIMS thing.
You can't be appointing people to.
They have to take it. I mean, we've all taken it. But now with the new council coming in, they won't be able to operate unless they take the NIMS course. And that takes a lot of time. It's not a week, and 1 week and it's over. So this is the next thing that I want to pursue to get it done. One other thing, if I'm belaboring everything tonight, I'm going to belabor it. We spend a lot of money on salt. I've been waiting to hear whatever happened to our building, and nothing has been brought to duration on that.
Can you hear him? Well,
I would like to know where we're at, what we're doing.
I have a meeting coming up as soon as the salesman calls me. And hopefully we'll have it underway. I'm putting a separate salt building on with a public works building with probably 3-bay garage for it.
Well, we have to put it out for a bid, that no matter what.
Oh, this will be Co-Stars.
this is a
Coast
Co-Stars
Guard.
company.
Oh, okay.
I already checked into that.
All right. One of the things I'm interested in is saving some money and doing a better job on salt is what everybody uses. A lot of places use salt mixture with calcium and magnesium. And it lasts, you can do 30% more area if you use that kind of blend. And what it does, it leaves a residue afterwards that you don't have to go back and salt again because it has that mixture in with the salt. If we had a building, we could save ourselves a little money. It's 20% more, but you gain 30% in use. It goes over a bigger area if you use this type of thing. We can't do that now because we don't have facilities to store it. But these are the kind of things you got to look at for the future.
Well, why isn't everybody else using that?
They are. The state uses
That's
it.
where we get it from. We get it from the city of Easton.
Well,
So why aren't they using it?
no, there's a straight salt. I looked into it, Kelly, I know.
We
I have a business that uses
We have been
uses the
talking
stuff
like
like
this
that.
forever.
All right.
Well, a lot of them probably don't even do that. You're talking where it leaves a brine. They go out with their solutions and their tags. That's why they pre-treat the roads anyway, because then until you get the first 2 inches, you actually, you know what I mean, you don't really have to salt or plow once you have, if you pre-treat the road.
That's exactly what it's a thing that's after pre-treatment, or you use it as a pre-treatment because that residue
Yeah,
cooks
like I
it
said,
straight
it leaves a
out.
brine on the road and then the snow don't accumulate as fast.
Right. That's all I have.
It's like where there's more traffic, it's better yet because the traffic will activate.
Exactly. So I mean, that's something that you can look at because it does, you can extend your use a lot further over a bigger area.
I know when there was a salt shortage, and I applied for salt from the county. The problem was you couldn't get any unless you had a building for the truck to dump it in. So again, it would benefit the borough.
Well, we had an opportunity for a building through Johnson. George offered, unfortunately, he's got them all full now.
I know, at that time I called him.
Last year, he offered a place for us to dump salt, but now he's got them all rented out.
Well, like you said, even with the building, I mean, you've been talking with the borough, if we can get them, like as far as sweeping, like even if it's not regular, but when they come by even in the spring, we can go with 1/4 inch anti-skid or whatever, like on the hills, you get better traction.
Sure.
You know what I mean? You don't have to use as much salt, you know, you can make a mixture that way.
Good point. All right. Thank you.
But if we go to a brine mixture, we're either going to have the partnership with somebody like Palmer that makes it. Because it is a heck of a setup if you're going to have a mixing tank.
Well, you can buy it that way, Tom. I looked into it.
And then we have people hollering that the cars are getting, we're going to have a lot more people hollering the cars are white because when the truck goes down the road and spreads itself.
Do you want public safety or you want a dirty car?
You know, that's the biggest problem.
That's all I want to know.
You know, you're gonna make some
I'm not worried
people
about
happy
that.
and some of them not.
I'm not worried about a dirty car, I'll tell you.
Well, normally you can't win for losing, but you gotta do what you gotta do to keep things safe and do it the most cost-effective and efficient way.
Exactly.
And you could be the sweetest peach in the basket. Not everybody likes peaches, so of
I hate to fix myself.
course you do. Everything else?
But when we
Dave?
had an added supply of salt, our roads were down with that Nova chip that was down there. That's the problem. We don't have enough salt. And when Easton goes down, we only get what they'll give us.
Well, we were there last year
Yeah.
where we had nobody to get salt for it. And we were lucky that we didn't get any.
And that time there, what thing,
Yeah,
Johnson gave us a building, but they still wouldn't give us no salt.
that's right. All right, I'm done.
Yeah.
Just for your, back in your mind, they do have, Easton has a program where you can rent equipment and an operator for a certain amount of time if you do want to
Sweeping, whatever.
sweep and stuff like that. It's something for the public property committee to look into.
Yeah, I think I was talking to Rich Beamer down there. And we just got to see him the day we were there. All right, he has to come back with a final figure for the truck and for the manpower.
Well, I don't understand, they have a program, they should have a sheet with all this stuff on it.
Yeah.
Shouldn't be this difficult.
I've been asking for one, I asked
But
him.
it should be organized so that you can sign the streets, no parking on this day, so that people park on the other side of the street.
So when they're
that
here, they can just get
They
it done.
can get and drive down, not have to drive around, and then like the next day, you know, you have to be organized. You just can't call them up and have them show up one day. You know, you have to have a plan in place.
And then we got, we come to the point.
You're done?
Yes.
Oh, one other thing, Mayor. 13th is a bad day for the Finance Committee. Can you make it the 14th? I'm gonna call,
Yeah.
all right? That's a bad day, this Thursday.
14th?
14th, I'll call you if he has a problem with the 14th.
I'll mark it.
All right? It's gonna be Friday. I think we said 5 o'clock, wasn't it? 5 or 5:30, whatever. All right.
I'll let you know too, Tommy, but I'm pretty sure my calendar shows that.
Yeah,
I'm all right.
I'll give you a call tomorrow after I get a hold of you.
Oh, may I register one more thing, you guys? The repaving of the 2nd Street, there's been complaints from one end to the other when they patched the holes, that when they put the gas lines in, there's about maybe a half an inch of space between the paving and the top of where they cut the hole. And
Why don't we find this stuff out at council meetings? Why don't we find out when we complain?
because they come to my house and knock on the front
Oh, you
door and
got a
ask me,
phone.
what am I supposed to do? I can't help it.
You have a telephone.
I
I
can't
finding
help
out
it.
all these complaints at the council meeting.
Hey, I've been around so long, it's automatic, just knock on the mayor's door, they'll take care of it.
We can call them and have them come back and fix it. We have money in escrow to fix it ourselves. I don't know how long it's been.
Well, this is what it
I mean,
is.
but we have to know about it. We can't, you know.
I just got the complaint this week, before I went on vacation last week.
So 2
The
weeks
third,
ago.
the Wednesday before I went on vacation, that's when I got it.
Well, the air must have sunk because we were up there checking the curves. It looked flush.
Yeah.
Mr. Mayor, I live on 2nd Street. How many patches are you talking about? Because I didn't see any on my...
Well, if you go down the lower end by Leon's and a couple houses up past him, that's where they're complaining.
Oh, okay, because I didn't see any on my block.
Yeah, because I was up by your place.
I'm only telling you what the complaint was.
Okay.
I just thought I'd drop it off here tonight.
We'll
because
look
I
at
don't-
the one
I don't
calls
deal
and
with that.
see where they were doing it at and ask them to come back. Thank you.
Just have Dane look and look at it, just so you're satisfied.
Yeah, we'll take care of it. All right, the solicitor has nothing, so we'll go to, committee reports. Is there any committee reports? I don't think so.
No, just, I have a co-star dealer coming for the building. When he makes contact with me, you're welcome to come down, Gary. All right? And I'm hoping it's gonna be this week.
You went out input, did you hear that?
Yes, I heard.
Okay.
All right? So you will be in here with us. And Ron, you're there.
I'll just during the day, unless it's raining, there's no way.
Well, I'm gonna try to let them pull in here like about 5 o'clock if possible.
I might be lucky enough to make it then. Before
But I think I have your cell phone.
Yeah.
Do you have it with you all the time now?
Yeah, I do it.
If he calls me between now and Thursday, I'll give you a holler.
All right, that's fine.
Or if not, next week, you let me know. Is a Saturday better for you?
Saturdays, yeah, I rarely work on Saturday.
All right. Is that a problem for you, Gary?
No.
All right. So if I can make
I
it,
say you never know, but rarely.
Right.
if I can make it on the 15th,
Yeah.
yeah. We'll do it early in the morning, get it over with.
All right, yeah, say, 'cause this 15th is my wife's birthday. I know we
All
have
right,
lots of plans.
15th, no,
But I mean, I'll try to make it, yes.
Never go to a meeting on your wife's birthday. I learned a long time ago.
all right.
Well, like you said, early in the morning, you know what I mean? If we're gonna do something, I'm sure we'll be a little later, you know what I mean? I'll try to make it.
Must be a heavy rain, the guy calls me tomorrow, tell me to come here tomorrow.
Well, I'm off tomorrow already. Yeah, I'm definitely off. I don't work on Wednesday. I was already reported by my boss that I'm off tomorrow.
I'm just waiting for a phone call
All right.
back from him.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Let's move on to unfinished business. If I- if I-
Unfinished business?
If I may, just say one thing before we start. On May 22nd, when we tried to have a meeting about just grants only, the reason I was bringing up the letter of intent was because you can apply for more than one project. And yes, one day and 9 hours and 13 minutes after the June meeting, Mr. DePaul did file a letter of intent. You all got a copy of it tonight. But the point for letter of intent coming out of my mouth had nothing to do with Mr. DePaul's project. It had to do and benefit the other council members that were here, that you're not tied in, just tied down to one project. If you have several that you think would be beneficial, I think all council makes that decision of what they find to be most important. And the process has to do with the amount of taxpayer dollars that you're going to utilize. Because this isn't a free grant, not only are you going to have to match what the county gives you dollar for dollar, you're going to also have to pay for the rest of the expense for your project. And in this case, the project is $215,000. As well as if we're going to move forward with 10,000 match, which would be 20,000 for, it looks like the hubcap store. I'm not sure that, my personal opinion is, I don't know why we would give taxpayer money to a business for the business to benefit from their tax dollars, and they don't benefit at all. I think if you would like to do that in the future, you can apply for a Main Street grant, which is also a business facade type grant, and use those monies to leverage a grant like this where you're not spending taxpayer dollars. You're using the other grant money to leverage this. But I don't know if the grant committee ever meets and discusses what's out there and how they, like, if they have a plan that they do have shovel-ready projects that they can pull the files and roll with it and go in to get a Main Street grant to use. There's no line item in the budget for matching monies. At one time there was, but there isn't anymore. That was removed. So these are all things that I wanted to discuss if we were going to pursue this on the 27th, but it was impossible. So if we can all be gentlemen, I would like to try again.
Here, ladies.
I'm not really getting involved with this because I won't be here to administrate it.
You never know.
Yeah, you never know, but I don't think I'll be here. I'm just saying to administrate it, so I want to make sure you're doing it the right way, that you're not going to tie yourself up, because the plan was Mr. DePaul was going to use liquid fuels money to match, but you can't use liquid fuels money for sidewalks and curbs.
I didn't say we were going to use liquid fuel money for sidewalks.
I asked you where you were getting the money from.
I
We
told
can
you.
watch Matt Deese's films, it's on there.
Yeah, and I
That's what
made
you
it
said. I
clear,
said, because I didn't understand what you were saying. In April, it's a matter of the minutes that Mr. Nottolene asked for a committee meeting to talk about grants, because Mr. Jankowicz was in the public and brought up that on Channel 69 News, the county's going to be offering a grant.
Yes, you did.
And your response was, there's no grants for 2 years.
there wasn't any grants. We're talking about uncommitted grants. There's two different things.
Hang on.
Uncommitted grants and this casino grant just came up in June.
This is
So
not a
how can I
casino.
say there
This
was
is
a
not.
grant in April?
This is not a casino grant.
It is a casino
This
grant,
is a
but
community-
casino grant is
community-
including money.
Again, you will not talk in this council chamber.
Dan,
Well, you're going to.
I am telling you, this grant you wrote a letter to, it is called the Northampton County Community Investment Partnership Program. It's
They got
brand new, and they just started it this year.
Yeah, because they got the money from the casino. So they're considering it money from the casino. It was a
They already
casino
considered
funded grant that was handed over to the county.
Some of the
years.
monies went over to fund this grant, not all of the monies.
but Dan, because after Jankowicz asked it, I said, well, maybe we
There
should have a
wasn't-
meeting. You didn't even have a meeting. You went after this grant.
Look,
And
I
you
just
didn't
got
even
done-
say
I
nothing.
just got done explaining it to you. When he was here, we were talking about uncommitted grants that come out to communities
He
every
just
2
did
years.
that.
There was no grant.
Why?
How many times do I have to say it? There was no grant in April.
Yeah, but why didn't we have, when you found this out, why didn't you call me? I tried calling you that,
It was at the,
and you
see,
didn't even say nothing about it.
it was at the last.
Let's have a
minute.
grant meeting.
It was
We
at the
need an
last,
emergency meeting. You didn't.
because it was at the last minute and the deadline for notice to intent to apply for this grant was at the end
Tell
of
me,
June.
if you called me on the phone and said, hey, Tom, we got a chance for a grant, should I go after
They
it?
moved the
Hell
deadline.
yeah.
And they moved the deadline after they had a meeting in July.
Right.
But the deadline was at the end of June.
But why didn't we know? You filed the letter of intent 1 day, 9 hours, and 13 minutes after the council meeting. Why didn't we know? Did you just wake up one day and go, wow, there's a grant. I think I'm gonna file for taxpayer money to,
All I put in was a letter of intent. That doesn't mean I applied for a grant.
no, but I'm saying, why would you come with the committee backing? There you have 3 votes. All you need is 1 more.
How comes we
Because-
don't have a committee meeting when you apply for curb cuts? How comes nobody knows about the water fountain out here? It's the same thing.
The water fountain was leaking all over the floor. We've been putting money into it for the last 7 years,
And I think I was told by the mayor either fix it or get it out of there.
and the mayor wanted it either fixed or removed.
Well, you removed it.
I
That's
didn't.
because the word was assigned, if you want to get somebody else's germs, you go use it.
Well, here's
It wasn't even- it
You're
wasn't
bringing
even
up
cold.
petty stuff.
It wasn't even cold.
The point of this discussion is to decide that the letter of intent went out, let's see. When you enter West Easton off of Lee Drive, the first business in West Easton, looks like something put together with scrap metal. That was your first one. Second was the road, sidewalks, and curbs are in very poor shape for people walking and driving to the DUI center. The number 1 grant, you were willing to match $10,000, and the number 2 grant, you were willing to match $50,000. Is this something that you still want to pursue both?
See, I'm going to explain it to you now, okay? So they announced that the county was going to give out matching grants from the money from the casino. And this was at near the end of June. And we had to the end of June to put a letter of intent in to get on the books, to get the application. That's why the application was blank. Because all they did was get the letter of intent and then sent you an application or emailed you an email address so you can print out the application. And in the application, that's why it's blank, is because you have to have a federal ID number, you have to have figures, which an engineer or a paving company would have. That's why it's not filled out.
I get that.
So
Notice of intent
we
to
made-
apply Friday,
we made-
July 31st, 2015.
we made a motion to do Adamson Street and the sidewalks and curbs, which the curbs are only bad on the Johnson side, which he agreed to contribute.
Why doesn't he just
So-
fix them? And then you don't have to worry about that whole one side to replace. I mean, the $215,000 is a lot of money when you're taking $50,000 from taxpayer and you're only going to get $100,000 back. Who's going to pay the other $115,000? The taxpayer.
Wait a minute, where's this $250,000 coming from?
I gave you the
Yeah,
letter.
you gave me this at the last meeting, at the last minute. You talk about last minute
No,
stuff.
wait a minute, no, hold on a minute. Just at the last meeting in July is when there was a motion to get the engineers involved for a cost.
That's right.
Well, you said, here's a list of things that you passed to spend $165,000 on. You went to DOT for $29,000. They're going to resurface Adamson Street and Avona Avenue under the trestle for $29,000.
That's
Now-
on the roads.
That's all we wanted to do. The road and the curb and the sidewalk. Now all of a sudden it's $250,000. Where did the $29,000 come from? Because we have an agreement with PennDOT and they have contracts. Now, $29,000 to redo Adamson and Avona Avenue. Now we got $250,000. What happened to the $29,000?
You asked for an engineer, that's the engineer's report.
That's an engineer's report.
That's what
Where this came from when you people passed $29,000, it came from
Not
PennDOT.
you people.
I didn't pass it.
Well, that's what I mean, we're not a team here anymore.
No.
We're all about
But it
ourselves.
was passed.
Dan, listen,
29,000,
This
all of a
was-
sudden it's
That's not
259,000.
listen, let me say one thing. Before you two guys got to become a WWF match here
No,
last
no, it's
week.
not going to do that.
No, I'm going there because I'll tell you why. The only reason for that meeting and why I was so disappointed was, here's the notice, grant application discussion. All that had been done that night, if you would let the president talk and not try to overtalk her,
I didn't.
listen, believe me. You were making your point, and you were absolutely right where you were at. You were wrong. All we had to do at that meeting, with me sitting in that chair, you know what, and she would have done the same thing. That's the only reason she had the meeting, to satisfy your situation. A vote had to be made to approve what you did. You can't go on your own and do it.
I wasn't going on my own, that's why I brought the
We
application
still
here in
needed
July.
that, you still needed that vote.
I didn't get the
You-
letter of intent.
And you had to vote
Not
here.
bring a
Everybody
letter
was
of
going to
intent.
vote for it.
I brought the application in at the beginning of
And that's
July.
all that had happened. That's all
We have
that
a
had
memo,
happened.
we have a memo that says to fix Adamson Street's going to cost $29,000. Then we get a paper at the last minute that says we're going to spend $250,000 15,000, 290,000, 485,000.
Well, the only
And
thing.
you got pictures of 7th Street and all we did was make a motion for Adams Street.
Let me go back a little bit, okay? Please, just let me go back. In 1950s, I'm going to give you a little history. The people of West Easton fixed their own curbs and sidewalks by mandate of the Borough Council. And I can tell you why I know. My grandfather, who owned about 160 feet on 5th Street, where my brother-in-law now built a home, was demanded to put curbs and sidewalks in. And in those days, gutter. That's where the responsibility lies. Those pictures were taken to show you there is deterioration in this borough. It has nothing to do with the damn grant.
Well, see, let me explain something to you, Jerry. The curbs out and about along Adams Street are mostly on.
They're good.
And he's willing to pay to have it done. But nobody brought it up to him, he hasn't done it. Now, who owns the sidewalks underneath the trestle that goes around the corner from Adams to Main?
This is why you have committee.
Is that the railroad property, right?
It's railroad property, and it's, anytime, I don't even know if they exist anymore, but anytime we had problems over the years, we sent them a letter, and they come down and fixed it. They fixed it. They still own that right away, and they come down and fixed it.
Well, then that's their responsibility. So there's,
But, Dan, let me say, I own property there. My sidewalks, I don't need sidewalks, I don't need curbs.
right.
Johnson doesn't need, except for where you put that new ramp in. And
Here's-
yeah, I know, right below that is where the city of Easton line comes across. Right before the railroad tracks. Some of that pictures there are East City of Easton. I talked to the mayor, he turned it over to his public works guy, and if we orchestrate our end, they will orchestrate their end.
I got pictures.
That's where we're at.
I got pictures of West Easton curb and street.
Yeah,
And all I wanted to do was put in the intent so we could get the application, and here it is.
I have no problem with that, and I don't think anybody else in this council.
So
will change it.
all the engineer had to do was put some figures on this paper.
We did it on
It's
this
one
stuff.
sheet paper, they want figures, that's all they want.
Well, see, here,
Well, you didn't even tell your committee
And
people
you
that
asked-
you were on under a grant. So how can you tell us that?
forget about that. When you ask for an engineer, and based on the comments of curbs and sidewalks, that's what ran the price up.
I don't know.
That's what ran the price up. Our original quotes are what they are, and we could have done it without a grant, with the monies we had from the liquid fuel.
Well, it wouldn't hurt to get $50,000.
No, it
If
wouldn't
you want to
hurt.
spend 100,
But you're gonna get 50, and then you're gonna have to match it, and did anybody in that time span take the time to look and see where it was coming from? What line item are we gonna take it away from?
right here, we plan to spend $29,000.
I'm just saying.
And this was last year, so the price probably went up.
I'm not arguing the point. What I'm saying is, parliamentary procedure is so important in the way you do business, so you have a paper trail to know where the hell you came from. And we don't do that anymore.
I know there's not a paper trail, because these poor people up on Spring Street want garbage picked up, and it's not been picked up for 2 months. We got a health issue now. They send a letter, and nobody gets it. I asked for Linda Hudnick letter. Where is it? I'm not gonna get it. You know
It's in the
why?
file.
Because Linda Hudnick read me what the letter said. She moved out because of people on Ridge Street don't clean up their backyards. And she came to council for months and months and months, she
No, she
said.
came.
You can have a copy of the letter.
You can have a copy of the letter.
We just.
Well, I asked for it last
Well,
month.
come down to the office and pick it up. We didn't get hand delivery and everything.
No, I got a packet.
You know,
We
the other
get
thing-
packets. We get
Yeah.
packets. It's not in a packet.
Yeah, you get packets. You've been around here a long time, and you escorted Sandy through a lot of things, and
The other way
you know that
around.
box behind the door in there? That same box was up in the old Borough Hall. And every councilman, when those minutes were available, they came out and got their own minutes. They didn't have to have them hand delivered, or wait till the damn meeting to pick them up and sit here and read them, and read your own, what you think into it, and then have an issue with something that you just read right now.
I came down early
Those
this morning
things
and
were-
got
I
the
was
minutes.
there- I
I
was
get my
there.
minutes.
I was there this morning, there was 4 of them still
Yeah,
there.
and I came in and got mine, right
Yeah.
after you left.
And why isn't more interest when they're available a week before people come and get them?
I don't know. I can't talk for
That's-
everybody.
that's why
I always
I'm
get mine
talking
on
about.
Monday because it's not available on Thursday.
These things have to change. And all I heard in the last election is better government.
Wait a minute, Jerry. We got our minutes on the Thursday before the meeting for years, and you know
And you know what? Until Bill Consolino came along, he had them hand delivered because he was too damn lazy to come down and pick them up himself.
it. Well, I picked mine up.
No, not in those days you didn't, because you were on council.
Right.
I have two issues with the, and maybe try and move this along. One, I do believe that there would need to be a resolution enacted by council if they want to
Exactly.
proceed with this grant. And that certainly can be prepared, but I think that would move this along if that's the intent of council. But it doesn't seem as if some of the details are clarified, such as the amount of money that's seeking. It seems to be some discrepancy. The other issue, and I just want to bring that to the table in order to try and move this along. And two, is in that engineer's letter, and I'm just saying this, I mean, some people were here the last meeting, but Mr. Nixon, I know you weren't, so there was a letter from the engineer, I don't know if you had an opportunity to see it, that Mr. DePaul is referring to. One of the issues I just wanted to reiterate is if there was some concern addressed in that issue, and I do believe it's a valid point, that some of the individual property owners that might fall under the scope of this project should be responsible for repairing, according to our ordinance, their own curb and sidewalk. So there were some issues addressed, and that was one of them. So I just wanted to reiterate that, particularly for your benefit, since you weren't here, or maybe I don't know if you saw the letter. So, but in order to move this forward, I do think there needs to be a resolution passed with the details flushed out, and keeping in mind that that's another issue that needs to be addressed and flushed out.
Well, that's the whole thing. We have people that are responsible for their own front curb. If we do that down there, we're gonna get rushed with everybody that has a bad curb. I want my curb because my tax dollars want to pay it. We use people want to pay for the painting of the hubcap store down there, your tax money. Do you want it? That's what it's coming down to. Same thing with the curbing. The curbing, nobody walks down there. And that's just the way, that's George Johnson, the hubcap guy, Joe Reedman, whoever's down there. That's their responsibility. The street is ours.
Exactly. And the sidewalks under the trestle belongs to the company that owns the right of way.
Right.
And guess what? My company trims all the weeds along there so that people can walk on there, and I've been doing it for 2 years.
Because I'd be a resident, the first one I got a bad curb, I want to replace it, I use police support.
Sometimes you have to do things.
Excuse me, I'm losing.
From
Nazareth, if there was a bad sidewalk or curb, they used to put a big X on it.
Nobody's getting our curbs done for free. George Johnson's gonna pay $10,000 over, way above what it's gonna cost to fix his curb.
I
And
think,
he's only gonna contribute some money to go towards the street too.
I think, if these property owners are gonna fix their sidewalks and curbs, it would be able to downsize the amount that the borough is doing and would lessen the pain on the budget by not having people contribute and, you know, if they get a fair share and this guy has this and he didn't, and the guy, you know, Reedman, he's like right in front, and why would the hubcap who doesn't have curbs and sidewalks contribute when Reedman's in front of his property and it's his sidewalk and curbs because he's the property owner right there. I think that's a bad thing to get into, because if somebody feels like they got slighted, I didn't get what I thought I'd get, you know, you're gonna have a problem. I think if these people are willing to repair their own curbs and sidewalks, then we should downsize the amount of the project. It could still be $50,000, because maybe it'll only be $100,000.
Yeah, that's what I'm figuring.
To put it in. But I don't think we should accept contributions from business owners. I think we should let them repair their sidewalks and curbs and be responsible for what we need to be responsible for.
Well, the only thing.
Because I did notice, and this is just something I noticed accidentally, because I was driving slow through the trestle, so I didn't get like thrown into it with those potholes that are there. People walk down that trestle the other side where there's no sidewalk.
Yeah,
The kids walk in the street
yeah.
on that side. So putting sidewalks and curbs in there would be beneficial. If you're not gonna put it, they don't act, the property is owned by the taxpayers can walk at the park, because it would connect down to sidewalks that are already existing, which would be a good thing.
You're talking about these sidewalks here, like over grass, right?
Yeah.
I'm talking about, both sides.
Right, well, the other side's not too bad.
The other side, there's no existing sidewalks, it's just a curb and dirt. So this side, I think we should get done. The other side, I think we should get done, because at least it connects in, this connects into more sidewalks.
That's why I took pictures of
So-
that. That's the only thing I was talking about.
Okay, wait, I think if they correct their problems and we correct the things that we have to do, we could downsize the project, and it'll be more manageable as far as our budget goes. And I think the taxpayers would appreciate the cleanness that it would bring, because you wouldn't have dirt and moss and grass and things growing there. It should be a nice clean front and sidewalk, of course. You're gonna have to shovel all that then in the snow, just let you know. I'm just joking. But I'm also talking about up here, Dan. Come over here.
Oh, yeah, the other side of the street.
Yeah, because it connects into pre-existing sidewalks, so at least there's a flow to something.
Right.
But now, how far is the railroad on it? They should be
Well, I
removed.
understand that, and that's like another detail, but let's get through these details one at a time.
But the railroad doesn't do anything anymore, do they, Jerry?
Well,
What railroad are we talking about now?
The railroad probably does not even exist anymore. They gave up the
You mean
rail line.
down Adamson Street?
Yeah, we're talking about the trestle that runs.
no, it's still on the trust.
The right of way is owned by, used to be a Jersey Central, and then somebody else bought it. And
It's
it's,
not hard to find.
it's still in their name, and you probably send a letter to them, and they probably ignore it now, because they haven't been addressing them like they used to.
Yeah, the trestle that goes over to where Frederickson's property was.
Yes. That's,
Both sides.
you can still try to address a
I
letter to
think we
them.
should at least reach out. We can't just say, oh, they won't do it. I think we should make an effort and reach out. Really.
But in the meantime, we could
Just
probably
due
put that,
diligence,
we
you
could
know?
probably put that in.
But I'm saying, if we like downsize and not recreate things that are already existing,
Well, the only thing I'm downsizing,
it's,
from what I have pictures of, is George Johnson should fix his own curbs. That's the only down, because we're only talking about Adamson Street and Avona Avenue.
correct.
And I bet you, Dan, I bet you don't have much curb down there.
No, right here's the
It's
picture.
probably more in the city of Easton.
No, here's the picture. It's really crumbled in one spot. and-
Oh, you mean sidewalks?
No, the curbs. The
Oh,
sidewalks are good
yeah,
on that side.
on my property line, they're perfect. I don't have any problem.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. The only bad spot is the curbing along
Okay, so you're
past your
agreeable,
building. When you go past your building, that's where they start.
you're
the problem.
agreeable to downsize this to a more manageable amount, making the property owners, since there's ordinances in place, to be responsible for what they should be responsible for, correct?
Right, well, let me go one step further. Let's say if we have a company come in and do the work, can we say to George that
No,
we're
we're not doing
just
that
gonna make
either.
him responsible for it and that's it?
That's a
Everything has to be done by
Keep your
PennDOT
hands
specs
clean.
now.
PennDOT specs.
Even up there where they put that new modular home,
Yeah,
even their sidewalks and curbs, when they replaced everything, needed to be to PennDOT specs.
that's
So
that's why you have,
everything will be done the way it's supposed to be done, because the inspectors will go and check it. You
okay,
know, they're gonna need a permit, and,
that's all I wanted.
May I ask one question, Kelly?
yeah, that's why we're here. Let's get this over with. I didn't make any plans for tonight, so I'm open.
when's your expectations that we can put this out for bid? So we can get it done this year?
Well, we have to get the application in time. Once we get the application in, and if we get awarded a grant, then you put it out for bid. You don't put it out for bid before you
I
know if
understand
you...
that. I just asked a question, that's all I wanted to know, and you give me an answer.
Did you say I didn't answer?
You did. That's all
I'll
I need to-
answer you
That's all I need to know. I calculate very quickly.
Yeah. Let me continue, please. You're being like he was last
No, I'm
month.
just talking.
No, you're not. The application due date, okay, please, Friday, August 28th, and you know it's the 10th right now, by 12 p.m. The anticipated award would be October 2015. If you're awarded this, you don't do it this year. You're going to be doing it next year.
I'm just asking, we've been talking about it for a year.
No, we haven't. He just brought this up.
No, the street itself, that street is so damn bad, it's sickening.
We had that story last time, the street hasn't been done since 1998. Okay, but let me just get in for the engineer to do a report, so you know, that's right, you're not worried about the curbs, so we're only gonna worry about the streets, and here's 2 pictures of the streets.
He has been sorry,
All
but
right,
thank you.
well, there's 2 more.
All right, now. So we're not gonna do the Cupcake store, that's not on the
Right.
table right now?
Right.
That's gone, okay, good. 'Cause I didn't like that one. So we're okay with downsizing to what we own and what we can control. Property owners take care of their own.
Right.
We'll have the engineer reevaluate and apply for the grant because he'll have all the pictures and numbers by then. Is this something council wants to pursue?
We have to make a motion to pay the engineer, right? To go for this grant?
Well, you need a motion to
Move forward with
move
the,
forward and apply for the grant. Before we got cost from the engineer, now we need to move forward to apply for the grant.
I'll make the motion,
Because-
but I do have
because-
a stipulation.
No, wait, because we need to create from this motion a resolution that the council supports this. Because if all the council doesn't support this, it's not looked like a very highly rated project because it doesn't have the total council support. That's like one of the things they look at. So that's why it was necessary to hash it out and figure out how much money you're willing to spend and how you're going to go with this.
I'll
So,
make the motion that, we watch the grant.
second.
Now, my other part of it, any more grants come up, we have a grant committee, not just one person. Let's find out and where we can use it at. Not,
a lot of this conversation that we had tonight could happen actually in a committee meeting and be brought to the whole council. It just would be a whole lot easier. And then if there were more questions that came out of your discussion from you guys, because you know more heads are better than one, then you can either broaden it, come up with other ideas, you know, morph it into something more beneficial. I think, you know.
Who's on the grant committee? I know we probably got papers about it. I'm just saying, I just remember that one meeting a long time ago when Dan was told, Dan, you're nominated the grant guy. I remember that, but
The more input there is from the council after the committee, you know, meets on things.
I understand, because then you got 3 people.
Because then you have 3 people that know what they're talking about. They need to explain it to the rest of us, and then we can ask them, what about this, or should we do that, or what if we added this or subtracted that, sort of what we did tonight.
But I'm saying, do you know who was on the grant committee? Am I on it? Is that on that paper that we got that said like who all the committees were?
Tommy, Dan, and somebody else.
Louis.
Oh, Louis. Tommy and Dan are on it.
All right, thank you.
All right, so a motion is on the floor to apply, you know, have the engineers reevaluate this, put this together, and apply for the Community Investment Partnership Program of Northampton County.
We did that in one breath.
I've been practicing all day.
How's that motion? Yeah, do you second?
Second.
So, we need an all in favor.
Yes. Aye.
Okay. Thank you. Finally, right?
You made
Can I have a standing ovation?
it. You got it.
Thank you, Mr. Dees. All right. So now that we made the motion and we had the vote and the discussion and we all have an idea of what we're doing moving forward, can we enact the resolution to be able to forward that to the engineers to add in with our grant application?
I'll make that motion for the resolution.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. You're good?
All right, thank God. All right, thank you, gentlemen.
One other comment about that street, please.
Uh-oh.
Now, I like to give history.
Mayor don't have a date tonight either.
Yeah.
You said it, right?
I want to make,
You said it.
I just want to tell you a little story. And Dan brought it up in the last meeting, and I didn't have a chance to ask her because the meeting blew up. But
Imagine that.
here's the thing. We never had to worry about the street, Lehigh Foundry, Adamson Street. George Nallman, who was president and CEO of Lehigh Foundries, and Latero, who was personnel director, they used that street as a thoroughfare between the foundry and the other buildings. They repaired that street from the bridge all the way down. We put very little money into that street. It was a first-class street for years. You could use rollerblades if they had them back then. And not until they left town did we ever have to spend any money on that street. And we haven't spent a lot of money on that street, because that street was built so well. But in that many years since they left, 25 years, a little more, that courtesy they gave the borough of West Easton by fixing that street, as long as they were there, that was the agreement we had with them. Because they went from one building across the road into the foundry, from the foundry back into the other buildings. And to use that, and in fact, there was a sign on Main Street that said, lift trucks crossing with a flashing light. History again. I'm just going to give you a little history.
All right. Tony, next, new business, I guess?
I have some, it's old
Warren,
business.
please.
Well, it's new business. I didn't have a chance to talk about it. All right, just some info for everybody. The first quarter recycling, you know, I always bring up recycling because I'm like big into recycling. So the less garbage that goes to the landfill keeps our trash bill stable. So try to recycle, tell your neighbors to recycle. I'm always asking people if they recycle. Recycling is very important to keep your garbage bill low. And the first quarter of 2015, we only did 13.64 tons of recycling in 3 months.
That would be my fault, because I don't drink during the week now.
Oh, you drink that many tons? 3 tons of beer cans?
You never know.
All right, so
You'll end up over there at the treatment center.
just don't be
That's why I
driving.
voted for
This
it.
is not driving.
No, I don't.
Okay, so second quarter, after I was cheerleading around about recycling, it is up to 15.96 tons of recycling. So we went from 13.64 to 15.96, which is really good. And very close to the second quarter of last year, which was 16 tons. So 15.96, that's pretty good. I'll take that. All right, next. No, I wasn't going to throw these at Dan.
Oh, I would have done. No.
Take a joke, man. Lighten
I
up.
did, I said I would have done.
No, he just glared at me. Okay, for our new fangled street signs.
Yeah.
The ones that, we want to keep the old poles, not have to like dig them out because they are put in there to stay for the rest of the time until like the road explodes there or something. Because I saw how they were cemented in when we were putting curb cuts in. They really had to dig out some of those poles. So we got the universal, which fits a square, which is our new, And then one street sign, like 7th, would go here. And then this would go on top of the 7th Street. And then up here would be the East Street sign, if we were putting it on that corner over there. You see how that would be? And they're quite large now, the way that they're about this large. Like right now, we have those little cast iron things.
Is there actually like a standard size?
Yeah, there is.
that
PennDOT
for code
changed
like
it,
that?
and it's much bigger now. But they have to be changed out in high reflectivity.
Do they have to be like a specific color or?
Just keep what we have, but it'll just be reflective instead of just dull, the way it is now. But, these are, we need 90 of them. These are $1,710. I mean, no, $1,710.
That's for all the streets.
This is for all the streets.
I think we're mandated to do it, right?
Yeah, you have to do it.
Yeah.
Has
I'll
to
make
be
the motion
done by-
that we.
No, wait, I'm not done yet. I mean, I know there's money in the budget for this, but I want everybody to know how much things are. All right, the street signs, which are 9 inches high, so you'll be able to see those compared to what we have now. You'll really be able to see those, and especially being bright. We need 81 street signs. We have like 3 singles, all the rest are going to be doubles. And that comes in at $2,360. Refacing, we're going to try to do this, because you can reface some flat signs, like our speed limit signs. Some of them are in good shape, but they're not high reflectivity. So we're going to try to get the old off and put refaced signs on. They're going to try to do that. If they can't, they're not going to charge us. If they can, it'll be $312 for 8. Let's see. For a grand total of, including the speed limit signs, oh wait, yeah, there are, the other speed limit signs, we have 40 speed limit signs, 15 miles an hour, 25 miles an hour throughout our borough. That comes to $2,140. Because I came, the timing just was good. He was ordering a large batch of blanks, and he was going to save money ordering more. So since we placed our order during that time, we're going to get more of a discount back. Because he already gave me a $300 discount, which pretty much would pay for the reface signs. But we'll get a further discount per sign, like $2 per sign. But when you add it all up for all these signs, it's a savings, another couple $100. But right now it's at $6,000 for the street signs, the speed limit signs, and the brackets. And then we'll be done. Everything else is done. So do I have a motion to order these?
Make a motion.
Motion by Mr. DePaul,
Second.
second by Mr. Nottolene. Do you need any to know anything else?
Certainly, it's good.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
All right.
May I ask a question?
No.
Yeah, the floor's not open right now, isn't it? No.
What do you want to know?
I'm just curious, we have the black and white signs, I think, are standard colors.
They are.
Is there any possibility of changing that? Because DOT offers but green and white, blue and white.
Well, I don't want to do blue and white because that's what Wilson's doing, and you won't be able to tell the difference
Sure.
between.
What is West Easton's colors? You're the history buff.
Blue and white.
Blue and white?
They are not.
Yes, they were. Livingstone School.
Because years ago, it used to be,
On basketball
all the years
uniforms,
I've been
blue
here, I
and-
never saw a blue and white sign.
White and blue.
I think we have a professional.
Ms. Gross,
Wow.
I remember in history that Wilson Borough had a problem with PennDOT with the blue and white signage. So we have to make sure that any signs that
No,
we get.
no, it was not blue and
It was
white.
red
It was
or-
blue and yellow with
Yeah.
the warrior what they
it
had
was
a
the
problem
head.
with.
Okay, I thought it was
It
colors,
was
because it
blue
was
and
in the
yellow
newspaper.
with the, they didn't like that warrior head on there.
Okay,
Can't be
thank
like
you.
putting warrior hats on
Yeah,
their
you know,
signs.
you can't kick a touchdown, you know?
And the midget football team was blue and white too.
Well, that was uniforms, I'm talking about street signs.
I didn't mean to start anything, I was just curious about maybe a little color to
When you ask a
the,
question,
little color
in front of
to the
camera.
borough.
Get in front of the camera when you ask the question. I'm gonna see you in front of the
All
camera.
right, Allentown and Salisbury, like right where they meet, Allentown are green and Salisbury are blue, so people know.
We need to know where the different communities start and stop. I mean, they can be green and white, but I think they've been white and black. I don't think black and white would look good. They're kind of gloomy around here. But I think white is very reflective, so they'll be bright when people are driving around. What do you think we should do with the old cast iron signs? You think people that like...
Let's recycle, we get some money
No,
back.
I'm thinking
No, I
about
want
having-
one.
No, shush, let me finish. I'm thinking about maybe we should like auction them off and like have the people like, you know, it's maybe more...
Maybe stadium seats or something.
No, I mean like, because I don't want people like fighting over them, but if they want to like, you know, then we could do like
Iron
a
Street,
community...
Ron Street.
Well, I'll tell you what,
We could do like a...
don't put one on a pile outside the borough hall, they'll be going the next morning.
We can do like a...
Scrap people.
Well, they're around all the
Where
time.
the tape, where the tape.
Raffle
We could do like a community, fun thing, you know, a community fun thing with the money, like a movie in the park, or like a pizza night, you know, come meet your neighbors kind of thing, with the money from the auction. I don't think it should just like go, you know, to just some line item. I think we should like do something for the
You're starting to
community.
sound like Walter Ray.
It's good for rapport, and, you know, make it a little cohesive.
community involvement, I think is
Yeah,
good.
I just think it's a good idea. So let me think if I have anything else
Let's touch on that.
in my file. I don't, so you're on it. Anyway, thank you for cooperating, Mr. Paul, I appreciate it. I'm glad that we were able to get that done. I want you to be able to be successful next year, and that's when you'll be going out for bid, so, we'll take care of that and get that moving, because we have to have it in by 12 p.m. on the 31st of this month.
Right.
That doesn't give us a whole lot of time, but I'm sure we can do it. If I need anything, I'll be in touch. I'm gonna use you as the contact person.
All right. And if the county has a meeting to award the grants, will they have an announcement?
Well, they have your email, you get an
And I'll let
email.
everybody know that if anybody wants to go to that presentation.
All right. Thank you.
Well, glad it's our grant. When we got the enterprise zone grant, we got big time screwed on that.
Yeah.
They awarded it to us and Easton used it all.
Yep.
Yeah,
Same way with
we were
the, same way with the
we were in people's ears and everything.
camel truck with the camera.
You know, Sandy and I made a lot of heads roll on that, but we never won that battle. Especially on that enterprise zone. That was, what was that, 8-9 year grant?
Sounded good on paper though, didn't it?
Oh, you know what our participation was? They called me up and they were going to give us a grant every year. They give us so much money. Mayor, could you be down there to accept a check? I get the check and I had to turn it over to Easton. That's how we got involved in the
They
enterprise.
needed us in order to get the money.
That's,
They needed intergovernmental cooperation in either to take it. That's sort of how that works.
that was
Should have
one-
charged them for that.
Well, they already, hey, we have a history with them. They already screwed us on the police thing, and now we've got the same thing going on with the enterprise zone and everything else. So,
All right, a
Sorry.
motion
Well, I
to,
got one more thing,
Oh.
and so there's not an argument, I would like to see, somehow, we can clean up this garbage situation behind these people's houses on Spring Street. On Thursday morning, when the garbage truck comes around, maybe they can stop at the end of that street.
they can't. They told us if they move everything, he has a pickup truck. It's not that much. He brought me pictures of it. I said, look, if there was garbage in my alley, I'd be hauling it to the street because I don't want to look at it. You don't know. I pick up crap out of my flower bed, water bottles, all kind of people's garbage, and I don't come and complain to everybody about it. I had a facade, the front bumper of a car in the front of my house.
Well, let me just
I
say
didn't
this.
say, hey, Dane, get up here and get this garbage.
Somebody dumped garbage back there.
No, it was a person that lived there, which just wasn't somebody, it was a neighbor.
No, it was somebody from Wilson Borough, because the state police came, went through the garbage and found the name and address. They went to that name and address, there's a police report on this. They went to that address and that girl doesn't live in Wilson Borough anymore, so they couldn't do anything.
Well,
The people on Spring Street pay property taxes.
the people
So
are...
somehow we gotta help,
No.
somehow.
They haul it out front, I'll make sure it disappears. That's the best I can do. If they haul it out front, throw it in the dump truck, put it in a pile
Wait a
out
minute.
front, I'll make sure it disappears.
I wouldn't say that's the best that you can do. I would say, does council,
We have-
does council want to vote on it and have Dane help with the borough pickup truck? I mean, this guy's gonna use his own personal pickup truck.
How
to
many of us
haul
have
garbage?
used our own vehicles to do stuff?
How about if me and you go up there tomorrow and put it out on the street for it?
Hey,
Wednesday night, we'll go down and do it.
I'm off tomorrow.
I sent it to an argument. I sent it to an
I want to
argument.
find out right now.
hey,
How comes you got a letter and freaking Hank Notley got a letter? Nobody else. Did you get a letter, Mr. Hickson? I don't think nobody. Listen, the guy rents off, his kid rents off of Hank. You guys did nothing but a bunch of backstabbers. And I want to tell you that right now, before I lose my voice the rest of the way. You're cowards, you put stuff in fucking mailboxes, excuse my language, in people's mailboxes you can't even sign your own name to them. But I'll tell you what, come October, there's going to be letters sent out, and I'll have my name tacked on to them, what really went on. And people ain't going to like it. And people's going to start looking what happened.
Can I make a motion to adjourn?
yes.
No, I want to ball, I want to get going. All right, good night. I second it.
Meeting adjourned.
Tom, let me know what's going on. I mean,
Yeah, I will.